The boardroom was packed for the investor broadcast when Trent Calloway, my VP, started laughing loud, humiliating me in front of everyone. Then he fired me. "Hi, I'm Kara Whitfield, and I'm 32 years old. What happened to me could happen to anyone who believes hard work will always protect them. Before I take you through the betrayal, the breakdown, and how I turned it all around to own the very thing they tried to steal from me, go ahead and hit that subscribe button below. If you enjoy real stories where justice isn't just served but delivered with interest, this is the place for you. Now let me tell you how losing everything became the best thing that ever happened to me. Kara, your AI project has completely stalled our company's momentum." Trent's words hit like a slap. My project wasn't failing, it was ahead of schedule and under budget. But there he sat, grinning like he owned the world. This company had a culture of making examples. I'd watched 3 colleagues get publicly humiliated and fired in the past year, always in front of cameras or investors. Always with that same performative cruelty. "In fact, your work has been a real disappointment." That awful laugh echoed through the conference room. "I'm afraid we're letting you go, effective immediately." 8 years with this company. 8 years of sacrificed weekends and missed dinners. All ending with his calculated laughter for the cameras. The room went silent except for the hum of recording equipment. I sat stunned as security was called to escort me out. But as the shock wore off, something clicked. This wasn't random. This was Trent burying his own failures by making me the scapegoat. 3 weeks ago, his analytics tool had crashed spectacularly during a major investor demo. Not just failed, crashed live, with screenshots spreading across tech blogs within hours. He'd looked like an incompetent fool in front of people who controlled millions in funding. Walking to my desk with that cardboard box, the pieces fell into place. Trent wasn't just covering his tracks, he was performing damage control for investors who'd witnessed his public humiliation. But as I packed my files, I realized something else. Trent wasn't as smart as he thought. While plotting my downfall, he'd forgotten one crucial detail. I'd been working on this AI project for 2 years. Every algorithm, every breakthrough, every line of code had my fingerprints on it. More importantly, I had documentation to prove it. Passing his office, I saw him on a call. "Apex Technologies," I heard him say excitedly. "The deal we discussed, yes, I can guarantee delivery." He was already selling my AI system to the biggest tech giant in the industry. My AI system. He caught my eye through the glass and waved, that smug smile plastered on his face. Wait. The deal we discussed? Had he already promised them my technology? That evening, I pulled up my employment contract. Section 12.3. All intellectual property developed during employment remains with the employee until formally transferred through written agreement. I'd never signed any IP transfer documents. The technology was still legally mine. If Trent had already promised Apex my work, he was about to learn a very expensive lesson. I spent 3 hours going through every file in that box. Patent applications I'd filed personally. Email chains where Trent approved my direction. Meeting notes where he praised my innovative approach. All time-stamped, all documented, all proving this AI system was my creation. By midnight, I had enough evidence to bury him. But I wasn't going to rush. If Trent had already made promises to Apex using my work, I wanted him to dig deeper. The bigger his commitments, the harder his fall would be. The next morning, I started writing. Not an angry rant, a clean, professional letter outlining facts. Development timelines. Email screenshots where Trent praised my work. Copies of my provisional patent filings establishing ownership. 3 pages of pure, documented truth. No emotions, no accusations. Just facts any lawyer would love. I ended with one simple line: as per my employment contract, licensing of this technology requires my written consent. I addressed it to the entire board of directors, sent to their personal emails I'd collected over years of company events. My hand hovered over the mouse for a moment. Then I checked the clock, 9:00 a.m. exactly. I hit send. I made myself a cup of coffee and sat calmly at my kitchen table, sipping slowly while imagining the chaos beginning at corporate headquarters. Every board member checking their phones during morning coffee, realizing simultaneously that their biggest potential deal might be built on stolen work. 3 days of silence followed. No calls, no emails. Maybe they thought I was just a disgruntled ex-employee making desperate threats. Then I saw Trent's LinkedIn post. Him shaking hands with executives I didn't recognize. Caption: thrilled to finalize revolutionary AI partnership with industry leaders. Game-changing innovation coming soon. Finalize? He was moving fast. Too fast. He was doubling down, using my firing to take full credit for everything I'd built. Comments flooded in with congratulations. He was eating up the attention, convinced he'd pulled off perfect corporate theft. I screenshot the post. Every public claim about his technology was more evidence for me. Every promise he made was another rope for him to hang himself with. That evening, a colleague texted, "Saw Trent's post. He's really claiming your AI work as his own." Word was getting out. People who'd worked with me knew the truth. Board member Ellen Hayes called first. No apologies, just pointed questions about my development timeline and patent filings. "Did you work on this independently?" "Yes, with company resources but under my direction." "And Trent's involvement was?" "Approval and budget oversight. No creative input whatsoever." Brief, professional, but I heard concern in her voice. She wasn't fact-checking, she was building a case. 2 hours later, another board member called. Then another. Same pattern, polite but probing questions about my work, documentation, legal standing. None mentioned Trent by name, but his shadow loomed over every word. Meanwhile, Trent posted more photos from partnership meetings, looking confident and sure of himself. He had no idea the board was quietly investigating his claims. I kept responses professional and factual. No emotions, no drama. Just clear, documented evidence that I owned the technology he was apparently promising to deliver. The breakthrough came from an unexpected source. And it confirmed my suspicions about just how deep his hole was. My friend Jamie from marketing called late Thursday night, whispering like she was sharing state secrets. "Kara, the investors are asking serious questions. They want to know why your name is on all the patent applications but Trent is presenting as the creator." My heart raced. What kind of questions? Legal questions. Ownership questions. They're getting nervous about IP disputes. And Kara, I found out why Trent moved so fast. He'd already committed to a deal framework with Apex Technologies. Nearly $1 billion. He promised them delivery of your AI system within 6 months, with him as lead developer. The pieces clicked into place. Trent hadn't just stolen credit after firing me. He'd planned this. Made promises he couldn't keep, then eliminated me to claim ownership of the solution. There's more. I heard him on a call today with legal. He sounded panicked, kept saying the IP issues were just paperwork and could be resolved internally. But they couldn't be resolved. Not without my signature. Not without my consent. I thanked Jamie and hung up, smiling for the first time since this mess started. The call that would destroy Trent's entire scheme came Friday morning. Ms. Whitfield, we're calling to clarify some serious intellectual property concerns regarding the AI system we've been discussing with your former company. The professional voice belonged to Janet Parker from Apex Technologies. The billion-dollar tech giant Trent had apparently already promised my technology to. We've conducted thorough due diligence and found significant discrepancies between what we're being told about ownership and what the public records clearly show. I kept my voice steady. What discrepancies? Your name appears as the primary inventor on every relevant patent filing. Yet Mr. Calloway has been presenting himself as the creator and sole owner of this technology. He's also made commitments about development timelines that our technical team finds questionable. There it was. Trent's entire house of cards. That's because I am the creator and legal owner. Without my written consent, this technology cannot be licensed or sold to anyone. Long pause. Then Janet asked the question that would change everything. Would you be interested in discussing this matter directly with our team? We're quite concerned about the misrepresentations we've encountered. I smiled. Very interested. We scheduled Monday. As I hung up, I realized Trent hadn't just stolen credit, he'd committed fraud on a nearly billion-dollar scale. The Apex call was everything I'd hoped for. They weren't just interested in ownership truth, they wanted me to lead the project personally, and they were furious about Trent's deception. Mr. Calloway made promises about development timelines that are physically impossible, Janet explained. He claimed he could deliver a fully functional system in 6 months. Our technical team estimates 18 to 24 months minimum. 6 months? Trent had promised them the impossible because he didn't understand the technology well enough to know what was realistic. We'd prefer working with the actual creator. This represents a $980 million investment for us, and we need someone who actually understands the technology. There it was. The number that would change everything. I could have said yes immediately. Cut Trent out entirely. But I had a better idea. I appreciate the offer, but continue your discussions with my former company for now. I want to see how this plays out. Janet seemed surprised. We could move forward with you directly and avoid complications. Give them a chance to resolve the IP issues themselves. What I didn't tell her, I wanted Trent to dig deeper. Every impossible promise he made would become evidence of his fraud when the truth finally came out. Trent went into overdrive over the weekend. Posted photos from expensive restaurants with different executives. Captions getting bolder, finalizing groundbreaking AI partnerships. Revolutionary technology launching soon. I screenshot every post. Monday brought a LinkedIn article by Trent, The Future of AI, How Visionary Leadership Drives Innovation. The entire piece was about his development process and his breakthrough moments. Complete historical rewrite, painting himself as the genius behind every innovation I'd actually created. Hundreds of likes, dozens of comments praising his incredible work. Tech journalists sharing it. Industry leaders congratulating him. Career suicide, and he didn't even know it. That afternoon, our company's legal counsel emailed, "We'd like to schedule a meeting to discuss your intellectual property claims and potential resolution." Formal but respectful. They were taking me seriously now. I agreed to meet, but only with everything documented in writing. No off-the-record conversations. If they wanted to discuss my IP, they'd do it properly. The stakes were becoming clearer to everyone involved. The legal meeting was scheduled for Thursday 2 p.m. By Wednesday, tension inside the company was apparently thick enough to cut with a knife. Jamie texted updates throughout the day. Emergency board meeting called for tomorrow morning. Trent looks like he hasn't slept in days. Ellen Hayes seen coming out of CEO's office looking very serious. But the most interesting update came Wednesday evening, heard from legal. Apex Technologies gave the company 48 hours to resolve IP issues or they're walking. Everyone knows this is the biggest deal in company history. 48 hours. I'd lit a fuse, and everyone could hear it burning down. That night, I reviewed my entire file one more time. 2 years of development work. Hundreds of emails. Dozens of patent filings. Meeting notes, progress reports, technical specifications. Every piece told the same story. This AI system was mine, and I had documentation to prove it. Tomorrow, Trent would learn that stealing credit isn't just unethical. Sometimes it's incredibly stupid. I went to bed early, setting my alarm for 7 a.m. I wanted to be fresh for what was coming. I wasn't invited to the emergency board meeting, but Ellen Hayes called immediately afterward. I could hear exhaustion in her voice. Kara, we need to talk. Can you come in this afternoon? Should I bring my attorney? That might be wise. Arriving at company offices for the first time since being fired, the atmosphere was electric with tension. Employees whispered in hallways, avoided eye contact. Word had clearly gotten out that something big was happening. The conference room was packed. Ellen Hayes, 2 other board members, the CEO, head of legal. Notably absent. Trent Calloway. Where's Trent? Temporarily relieved of duties pending resolution of this matter, Ellen said carefully. The next hour was corporate damage control masterclass. They walked through my documentation, confirmed my patent filings, acknowledged I was indeed the creator and legal owner of the AI technology. What do you want? The CEO finally asked. I'd been waiting for this question for 2 weeks. I want my job back. But not as an employee. The room went quiet. I want to return as independent consultant with full creative control over the AI project. I want significant equity stake in any licensing deals. And I want public acknowledgement of my ownership and creation of this technology. The CEO looked like he'd swallowed something bitter. And if we refuse? Then Apex Technologies will call me directly, and you'll lose a $980 million deal. Not a threat. Simple statement of fact. Ellen leaned forward. What about Trent? What about him? He committed fraud. Publicly claimed credit for work he didn't do. Tried to sell technology he doesn't own. Those are your problems to solve, not mine. Legal counsel took notes frantically. CEO kept checking his phone. Pressure was immense, everyone knew it. After an hour of discussion, they asked for 24 hours to consider my terms. I agreed, knowing Apex's deadline was fast approaching. They didn't have time to negotiate. Leaving the building, I saw Trent's office. Dark, empty, stripped of personal belongings. The man who'd laughed at my firing was nowhere to be found. That evening, Trent called. I almost didn't answer, but curiosity won. Kara, we need to talk. His voice was different. Gone was confident swagger, replaced by something almost like desperation. I don't think we do, Trent. Listen, I know things got complicated, but we can work this out. I'll make sure you get proper credit. We can be co-creators. Co-creators? Trent, you had nothing to do with creating this technology. You approved budgets and attended status meetings. That's not creation. Come on, Kara. Don't destroy my career over this. The audacity was stunning. He'd tried to destroy mine, now wanted mercy. Your career? You destroyed your own career the moment you decided to steal my work and fire me for it. I can make this right. No, you can't. You could have made it right 2 weeks ago by telling the truth. Instead, you doubled down. Wrote articles claiming my work. Pitched my technology as your own creation. Long silence. What do you want? I want you to disappear. Friday morning brought the expected call. The CEO was ready to accept my terms. We'll announce your return as lead consultant on the AI project. Full creative control, 15% equity in licensing deals, substantial consulting fee. And Trent? Terminated for cause. Effective immediately. And public acknowledgement? Press release this afternoon clarifying your role as creator and owner of the AI technology. I smiled. Then we have a deal. One more thing. Apex Technologies wants to meet with you directly Monday. They're ready to move forward with full licensing agreement. The $980 million deal was back on track. My deal now. That afternoon, the press release went out. TechCorp announces return of AI pioneer Kara Whitfield as lead consultant. Statement clearly outlined my role as creator and owner, announced my new position overseeing all development and licensing. My LinkedIn exploded with messages. Colleagues, competitors, journalists, everyone wanted to know what happened. I kept responses brief and professional, but inside, I was celebrating. The man who'd laughed at my firing was about to learn what real consequences looked like. Monday's Apex meeting was everything I'd dreamed of. Janet Parker and her team were impressive, professional, clearly excited to work directly with the actual creator of technology they wanted to license. We've been looking for an AI system with exactly these capabilities for 2 years, Janet explained. Your work is revolutionary. 3 hours going through technical specifications, development timelines, implementation strategies. Every question they asked, I could answer in detail because I'd built every component myself. One thing we need to discuss, Janet said near meeting's end. Timeline. Mr. Calloway promised we could have functional system deployed within 6 months. I almost laughed. 6 months? This is cutting-edge AI technology. Proper implementation will take at least 18 months, possibly 2 years. That's what our technical team estimated. We were skeptical of Mr. Calloway's promises. Of course they were. Trent had been making impossible commitments because he didn't understand the technology well enough to know what was realistic. Can you deliver in 18 months? I can deliver because I know every line of code, every algorithm, every potential complication. This is my system. Then we have a deal. Contract signing was scheduled for Friday. $980 million for exclusive licensing rights to my AI technology, with me overseeing all implementation and development. Biggest deal in company history, happening because they were working with the actual creator instead of a fraud. Thursday evening, Jamie texted, Trent cleared out his office today. Word is he's been blacklisted from 3 other companies because of what happened. I felt a moment of something that might have been pity. Then I remembered his laugh echoing through that boardroom as he fired me in front of cameras and investors. Some bridges you burn yourself. Friday morning, I put on my best suit and drove to company offices one last time as an outsider. By day's end, I'd be lead consultant on the biggest deal in company history. The contract was 47 pages long, but important parts were simple: exclusive licensing for $980 million, 15% equity stake for me, full creative control, consulting fee more than my previous annual salary. Signing my name on the final page. I thought about that moment 2 weeks ago when I'd walked out with belongings in a cardboard box. Now I was signing the biggest deal in company history. The signing ceremony was held in the same boardroom where Trent had fired me. Irony wasn't lost on anyone present. Ellen Hayes made a short speech about innovative partnerships and visionary leadership. Janet Parker spoke next, praising the AI technology and expressing Apex's excitement about the partnership. Working with the actual creator of this system gives us confidence that implementation will be smooth and successful. Then it was my turn. 2 weeks ago, I was fired from this company for supposedly failing to deliver results. Today, that same work is generating the largest licensing deal in our history. I paused, looking around the room at board members who'd initially dismissed my claims. This technology exists because I believed in it, worked for it, and refused to compromise its integrity for short-term gains. I'm proud to continue developing it under terms that recognize both its value and my ownership. Cameras rolled as I signed the contract. The same cameras that recorded my humiliation were now documenting my triumph. After the ceremony, Ellen Hayes pulled me aside. "I owe you an apology. We should have investigated before allowing you to be terminated." "Yes," I agreed. "You should have." News of the deal spread quickly through the tech industry. Articles appeared within hours. AI pioneer returns to close $980 million deal after wrongful termination. How corporate theft backfired spectacularly. The $980 million comeback story. My phone didn't stop ringing. Journalists wanted interviews. Other companies wanted to discuss potential partnerships. Tech conferences wanted me as keynote speaker. But then came an unexpected twist. The board called an emergency meeting. Apparently, some members were having second thoughts about my equity terms. 15% seems excessive for a consulting arrangement, one board member argued during the call. "Then you can explain to Apex why you're renegotiating a signed agreement," I replied calmly. Ellen Hayes intervened. "We're not renegotiating anything. The deal stands as signed." But I could hear the tension. Some board members were getting cold feet about how much power and money I now held. This wasn't over yet. The most satisfying call came from my former colleague Alex, who'd witnessed my firing. "Kara, congratulations. And I'm sorry we didn't speak up when Trent fired you. We all knew it was wrong. Thank you for saying that. How did you stay so calm through all of this?" "Because I knew the truth would come out eventually. Trent could lie to investors, lie to the board, even lie to himself. But he couldn't change the fact that I created this technology and had documentation to prove it." That evening, I treated myself to dinner at the city's most expensive restaurant. As I sat there with wine, I pulled out my phone and looked at LinkedIn notifications. Hundreds of congratulations messages, connection requests, job offers. But then I got another call from Ellen Hayes. Her voice was strained. "Kara, we have a problem. 2 board members are threatening to challenge the contract terms. They're claiming you coerced us under duress." My stomach dropped. Even after everything, they were still trying to find ways to minimize my victory. "What's your recommendation?" "Stand firm. The contract is legally binding. But be prepared for a fight." The fight came sooner than expected. Monday morning brought a formal letter from the company's legal team, requesting a meeting to discuss potential modifications to the consulting agreement. I called my attorney immediately. "They're trying to renegotiate," I told her. "They can try. Doesn't mean they'll succeed. The contract is ironclad." The meeting was tense. 3 board members, the CEO, and their legal team on one side. My attorney and me on the other. We feel the equity percentage needs adjustment, the CEO began carefully. The contract is signed and executed, my attorney replied. Any attempt to modify terms now could be considered breach of contract. You're suggesting you want to renege on a deal because you're having buyer's remorse, I interrupted. The same way you reneged on recognizing my ownership of the technology in the first place. Ellen Hayes, who'd been silent until now, finally spoke up. The deal stands. We're not modifying anything. But I could see this was far from over. Corporate politics never sleep. The next twist came from an unexpected source. Apex Technologies called with concerns of their own. Ms. Whitfield, we're hearing rumors about internal disputes regarding your contract. Should we be concerned about your ability to deliver? My heart raced. If Apex walked away now, my entire victory could crumble. The rumors are just politics, I said carefully. Some board members are uncomfortable with my success. But the contract is legally binding, and I have full authority over the project. We need assurance. Perhaps we should meet with the board directly. That can be arranged. The meeting was scheduled for Wednesday. Everything hung in the balance again. During the Apex board meeting, tension was thick. The skeptical board members tried to paint me as difficult to work with. But Janet Parker wasn't buying it. From our perspective, Ms. Whitfield is the only reason this deal exists. We're here because we want to work with the actual creator of this technology, not corporate bureaucrats. Her words carried weight. By meeting's end, the board backed down from their challenge. But I knew this was just the beginning of the politics I'd have to navigate. 6 months later, the AI system was ahead of schedule and performing beyond expectations. Apex Technologies was so impressed they were discussing additional licensing agreements for other technologies I was developing. My consulting company was growing rapidly. I'd hired 5 engineers and was considering expanding into a full development firm. The success of the Apex deal had opened doors I'd never imagined. But the best part wasn't the money or recognition. It was the vindication. I'd proven that talent and hard work still matter. That documentation and preparation can defeat deception and fraud. That sometimes, if you're patient and strategic, justice actually does prevail. I was preparing for my first keynote speech at TechCon, one of the industry's biggest conferences. The topic, owning your innovation, why documentation and integrity matter more than politics. But then I got an unexpected visitor. 3 weeks ago, I'd received a LinkedIn message from Trent. He was asking if I'd be willing to provide a reference for a potential employer. I'd stared at the message for a long time before deleting it without responding. Now he was standing in my lobby. TechCon auditorium was packed with over 2,000 people. As I walked onto the stage, I saw familiar faces in the audience. Former colleagues, industry leaders, journalists who'd covered my story. 6 months ago, I was fired from my job for supposedly failing to deliver results. Today, that same work has generated nearly $1 billion in licensing revenue. The audience was silent, hanging on every word. I'm not here to tell you a revenge story, though I understand that's how some people see it. I'm here to tell you a story about integrity, documentation, and the importance of owning your own work. I spent the next hour walking through my experience, focusing on practical lessons. Document everything, understand your contracts, file patents early, never let anyone take credit for your innovations. During the Q&A, a young engineer raised her hand. What would you say to someone currently dealing with a boss trying to steal their work? Document everything. Save every email, every meeting note, every piece of evidence that proves your contribution. And remember that truth has a way of coming out, but only if you're prepared to prove it. Another hand went up. Do you regret not fighting back sooner? No. Patience was my greatest weapon. If I'd gotten emotional or lashed out immediately, Trent could have painted me as a disgruntled employee. By staying professional and letting facts speak for themselves, I gave him enough rope to hang himself. 2 years after that humiliating day in the boardroom, I was standing in my own boardroom. My consulting company had grown into a full-fledged AI development firm with 23 employees and 5 major clients. The Apex deal had been just the beginning. Word had spread through the industry about our capabilities and integrity. Companies didn't just want our technology, they wanted to work with a firm they could trust. My assistant knocked on the door. Kara? There's someone here to see you. Says it's personal. I looked up from my laptop to see Trent Calloway standing in my doorway. He looked older, tired, significantly less confident than the last time I'd seen him. Hello, Kara. Trent. This is unexpected. He stepped into my office uninvited, looking around at the success that should have been his if he'd chosen honesty over deception. I wanted to apologize. Okay. I also wanted to ask if you might have any openings here. I know I made mistakes, but I've learned from them. I could be valuable to your team. I leaned back in my chair, studying his face. There was desperation there, and what might have been genuine remorse. No. Kara, please. I know I wronged you, but, Trent, you didn't just wrong me. You committed fraud. You tried to steal 2 years of my work and sell it as your own. You fired me to cover up your incompetence. Those aren't mistakes. Those are character flaws. He left without another word, and I watched from my window as he walked across the parking lot to his old, dented car. A far cry from the luxury sedan he'd driven when he was stealing credit for my work. As he drove off, I noticed something in his back seat, the same kind of cardboard box I'd carried out 2 years ago. Only this time, it was his. That afternoon, I had a video call with a potential new client in Tokyo. They wanted to license my latest AI system for their manufacturing operations. The deal was worth $200 million, and they specifically requested to work with me personally because of my reputation for integrity and innovation. As I prepared for the call, I thought about the journey that had brought me here. From a humiliated employee carrying her belongings in a cardboard box to the CEO of a thriving AI company with clients around the world. The secret hadn't been revenge, though I understood why people saw it that way. The secret had been preparation, documentation, and an unwavering commitment to the truth. Sometimes the best revenge isn't plotting someone's downfall. Sometimes it's simply being so undeniably excellent that the truth becomes impossible to ignore. And when that truth finally comes out, make sure you're ready to prove it. I can still hear that laugh in my head, but now it's drowned out by something louder, my own success. If this story taught you anything about standing up for yourself in the workplace, drop a comment below and share your own experience. Hit that like button if you believe that integrity always wins in the end, and subscribe for more incredible stories of justice, karma, and people who refuse to let bullies win. Trust me, the stories I have coming will blow your mind.